It's a hot crowd. Hey, hello, world. What is up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte. Yes, we are here live at the Build Studio in New York City. Listen, Stranger Things is one of the most watched, most bingeable shows in the history of television. Is returned. Season 3 dropped about 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to be honest, at this point, spoilers are fair game, okay? You have been warned. We're going to talk openly about this amazing show. Now, you've caught our next guest keeping a watchful eye over the Hawkins community pool as Heather the lifeguard. You may also recognize her as Emily from the Netflix original Haters Back Off. Folks, super awesome, super great Francesca Reale is here. Make some noise for Francesca, please. She can hear you. She's backstage. You excited at home? I'm looking at you. I know they're excited. I want to make sure you're excited to watch at home as well. Listen, we're going to bring her out in just a second, but first, I believe we have a trailer for the show. So let's go ahead. Let's run that clip.
At least someone's happy I'm home. It's just a dream. You're dreaming. All day. Play games for the rest of our lives.
It is important to me that you feel safe. I want you to feel like this can still be your home.
How many children are you friends with?
Ladies and gentlemen, crazy amount of noise. The great Francesca Reale is right here. Come on.
Hello, guys. Hi. Oh my God, you guys are all so pretty. Jesus Christ.
That was wonderful. That was a really nice welcome. That was great.
Hello, hello.
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 Hi.
Hey. Greetings. I don't know how much further I can go with that. Thank you for being here and hanging out with us. This is so cool right now to have you here and sitting down for a little bit, talking about this amazing show. And what a great time to come. Plenty of time removed so we can actually talk about it. I'm excited about that.
I know, I'm hyped. I'm hyped.
You've done some really cool stuff in this show this season, in particular, that I'm really excited to talk to you about.
Yeah, I'm on the billboard.
Look, I know. Isn't that great? Before we get to any of that.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Take your time. No.
I'm good.
No, I wanted you to enjoy this. How are you? How's
I'm
life?
good.
What is life like right now? It's got to be insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that insane.
A little bit.
I have a very good support system and stable friends, keeping me pretty grounded. So not much has changed, but which I'm happy about. But it's also been extremely exciting because everyone loves the show and it's doing so well, and they like Heather, which is great.
Well, I saw a really cool thing on, because I think you retweeted it, or somebody retweeted it, but it was basically fans recognizing you in this from Haters Back Off and like putting it together. Like, I know that girl.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Is that a fun
It's
little
so
career
great.
milestone? Like, oh man, people are seeing me do stuff.
Yeah, well, it's nice because it's nice that when they put themselves into it, because then they're looking at Heather and she's this femme woman, and then you go to Emily, who's just like, straight. There's like not a lot of, she doesn't love the makeup scene. She's not into the glam. She's just like my quiet space, me. So it's nice that they're piecing it together.
They're finding this. They're seeing you.
Yeah, those are also two very different shows.
Very different shows.
Yeah.
Both on Netflix.
Both on Netflix.
That's the connective tissue right there.
Yeah.
You are a big part of the Netflix family right now.
I know, I love them. They keep hiring me. Plug.
That's good. No, that's great. That's how we keep it going. So let's go back a second real quick and let's start this story from the very beginning. How did you come to be on one of the biggest shows on television? How did this all happen? Auditions, I imagine.
I auditioned, yeah.
Yes, how'd that go?
I originally auditioned for my Hawks role, but my tape was so bad. Like it was so.
That would have been that bad.
No, it was brutal. Like I was like, I don't know. It was last minute. I was going to Atlanta to work on a movie, and I had a friend who like loves acting, doesn't want to be an actor, but loves acting.
Okay.
Reading with me, so he was playing Joe Keery's role, and like every Joe Keery line, he was just screaming at me. You know, he was just like, "Hey, ladies," and I was like, "Oh God, I don't know what to do."
Yeah, how do I play with that? Yeah.
It was just awkward and weird, and I sent it anyway, and it was embarrassing, and it's okay because Maya Hawk does an amazing job. Like she's so good.
Wonderful, yeah.
And then my team came back to me. They were like, "We have a smaller role. Are you interested?" And I was like, "Yes, I would sit quietly in the background on Stranger Things. Give me anything." And then I did that tape, and and then they were like, "You're on it."
This we can do.
Yeah.
Did the second tape was a new tape, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the other role for Heather.
Yeah.
Same friend? No, you didn't do the same friend again.
No, new friend.
New friend.
New friend.
And so they bring you in, they see the tape, they like it, and then what happens next? You go and do you read? Do they give you sides? Do they give you like
I did
scenes from the original like season? Like how do they get you in there? What's like the next step?
I did a scene from Scream,
The movie?
the movie.
Really?
Drew Barrymore's scene where she's like...
The scene?
The scene where she's like... Which doesn't really age well when you think about it. You know, she's just making popcorn. She answers the phone. It's a stranger. And she's like, "Yeah, I'll have a convo with you. Yeah, I love this movie. Here's my social." And just going and going. So we did that.
Is that typical? They'll give you like an iconic scene from a movie that everybody knows? Like, or...
No, usually they'll give you a scene you've never heard of. But it was like they were assuming everyone auditioning for Heather had never seen Scream. But I've seen it so many times.
Yeah. It's not like
So we had to 80s
like a little independent
it.
film. Like,
Yeah.
Scream. It was a big deal when it happened. People still talk about it. I think they made a show out of it.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. They did.
They did, right? Confirm, young people.
Confirm.
Yes, Scream. That's
Yeah.
there we
She
are.
was like, yeah. Like,
There we are. See?
She was me. She was like, "How do you not know?"
It's not that we don't know. We were fairly certain of it. I just wanted to be 100%.
I did not know.
We have a very
at all.
smart audience.
We do.
I think it'd be crazy not to leverage that once in a while.
Yes.
Okay, so you have to read this scene. That's insane. You go in there, you do it. Obviously, you crush it because here we are now.
Yeah, I went in my callback. I did it again. I was kind of freaked out. I was like, "I'm the only one here. This is weird." And they were like, "Yeah, Beyonce's rehearsing for Coachella right next door." And I was like, "Shh." I don't know why. It wasn't like she was gonna watch my audition, but it felt like her being there was so much pressure. I was like, I have to do so well now. And then I went in, I did it. They asked me a couple questions about where I grew up and, if I like LA or New York better. And then she was like, "Okay, I mean, you're hired." And
I'm sorry. I'm just cracking up over your nervousness over the proximity to Beyonce. She doesn't even know you're doing this right now.
I'm
but
there.
She's near, and that's enough to get in your head.
I know.
I've got to do it for her.
I did. I mean, we all have to do it for Beyonce, every day. A step out the door is for Beyonce.
Every single day. Absolutely.
If I get out of bed, it's for Beyonce. That's
why we're all
I'm
here
looking
right
up like she's dead. She's alive. Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Sending the energy upwards,
Yeah.
arcs, and then lands eventually
It'll
with
find
Beyonce.
her. Yeah.
How do you usually do, Beyonce aside,
Yeah.
said no one ever. But forgetting about that for a second, how do you typically do with auditions? Do you like the process? That's like one of the hardest parts I feel as an actor is getting out there, putting yourself out there, taking these risks. Do you thrive under that pressure? Do you like that? Do you hate it? What do you feel?
I'm just laughing because 3 of my best friends who are actors are here, so I'm just thinking about what they're thinking hearing this question too.
We can get them mics.
It's
Nope.
It's so-
They are
they're
saying
like-
emphatically no. They do
No.
not want that. Okay.
It's so hit or miss. If it's a comedy, I love the audition process because you get to play around and work with people, and you can go in with something really funky, and they'll be like, "Tone it down, do it up."
Yeah.
With drama, it's a lot. I hate auditioning with dramas because if it's a really sad scene, you have to get yourself in that mindset, but then walk into the door, meet the casting director, and they're like, "Hey, great shirt," and you have to be like, "Yeah, thanks, man," and then start bawling immediately. It's like.
be on so many
It's like
different
being
parts of the
bipolar
spectrum. Yeah,
for
it
a
could be
career.
all over the place.
Yeah, yeah.
That's intense.
It is.
What's your did you have like an audition that you know, because you said like, oh, the tape was terrible and this was terrible. Do you know when you nail an audition? Like, can you feel that you've nailed it?
Yes.
Is it a good feeling?
It is until you. It's weird, guys. It's weird. I'm gonna explain it.
Talk about it.
Basically, you know, you're on a high. You're like, you leave the office. You're like, I just fucking did that. Sorry, I just.
It's the internet. You can say
nailed.
anything, and you guys
Oh,
seem old
great.
enough. You've heard that word before.
I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
all right,
just
yeah.
except for her right there. She's like,
No, it was definitely her first time hearing it. All right.
Where's your mom? I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
No,
Well, just keep going. Keep going.
You're walking, you're just like, oh, and then you're like replaying it in your head, and you're like, yeah. And then there was that moment where I made that look.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. And then you're focusing on replaying it so often that you're like, oh, shit, but then I tripped. Oh my God, I tripped. Oh my God, they're gonna see that I tripped. I'm not gonna get it because I tripped. And then you call your team, and you're like, I suck. I'm the worst. Drop me. I'm never gonna work
Oh
again.
my God, what a ride. You
Yeah.
just, like a high all the way down
This
to
might
like...
just be me specifically.
I don't think this is uncommon. I think I've heard similar stories.
No, I'm neurotic.
They ultimately call you and they go, we gave it to her because of that trip. It was so inspired. What a decision.
No, my team has actually started ignoring a lot of my.
choice. No one thought to trip there. Francesca, she knew when to trip.
I actually just sent in a tape where I completely trip over myself, but then just look and go, hey. And so we'll see. I'll let you know if they call me
Yeah,
back.
you gotta let me know if that method works out.
Yeah, my team's just started ignoring my calls about that. They're kind of like, when I email them, I'm like, I suck. This was brutal. They're like, all right, so you booked it. So that's
Yeah.
what we're just gonna say now. Or they just don't answer.
That's pretty amazing. When you found out you got the gig, speaking of like roller coaster rides of emotions, I imagine, oh my God, I'm going to be on Stranger Things. That's an incredible feeling. But is there, and maybe I'm projecting, I would assume there to be some anxiety that comes a little bit after it of like, oh my God, I'm going to be on Stranger Things. This is one of the biggest shows.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that cast, they're already best friends. Like all this stuff, is that accurate? Like that you go through sort of this whole roller coaster ride of emotions when you find out this is what you're going to get to do?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it was all weird. It was a big bipolar day. You know, she like gave me the role, and then I was like, "You're lying."
You didn't believe it.
This is all part of the audition process. I have to, be cool. So I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
what?"
Even when they're telling you have it, you're still not convinced.
Yeah,
You
I
just
was
don't want
like,
to be too
"Oh,
excited.
yeah." I was literally just like,
Make them second guess the
and then she just
decision.
kept talking to me. She's like, "So we're gonna talk to the Duffers and get you out to Atlanta." And I was like, "Yes." Wait, I'm sorry. Repeat. And then it all hit. I was leaving to my car. I was freaking out, crying. I saw Blue Ivy get into her car. It was really cool.
What a magical life.
A magical day.
Auditioning next to Beyonce, you're running into Blue Ivy.
I didn't run into her. I was like a block away from her. Her and like 50 bodyguards went into their big
Fair
car.
enough.
But I went home. I told my mom. I wasn't supposed to, but I told her anyway. And she was like, "Oh my God, your life's gonna change. Everything's gonna change. Oh my God." And she made me really nervous, and not intentionally. But then I called Natalia, who I had been friends with for a bit, and she kind of calmed me down, and she was really excited and supportive. And
Did she help like on that first day too, like sort of introducing you to everybody, showing you the ropes? Like, was she good at just kind of like getting you brought into the world? Or
my first day was not with her, unfortunately. But I had gotten to Atlanta the day before, and I had gone to get like dinner with her, and she gave me the tea, and she gave me the Stranger Things tea and the strange tea, and sorry.
Stranger Tea?
Yeah, Stranger tea. And it walked me through kind of what the process would be like,
Yeah.
and she was just very supportive. And then I went on to my first day, which was terrifying.
Was your first day with Deka?
It was a Deka.
Deka.
Mate.
He's Australian,
He's
if you don't know
Australian.
that. And he was here
No.
very recently. Sweetest dude in the world.
He is.
And super talented. I want to use the word intense, but that's not right. Like he's not an intense person because he's so nice and loving. But like you can tell, like he takes what he does very seriously, and he's very like thoughtful, and he makes very careful decisions, and like works really hard to make those decisions.
Yeah.
What is it like to work with that? Like, what was that energy like? What was that? Was that your first day?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. He's the Australian Robert De Niro. He really is. He's really
It's a great thing to be.
I mean, he's so sweet. But the first day I met him was, you guys have all seen the show. So the first day I met him, he was the day that, they got me all ready, and then they took me to the warehouse, and they were like, all right, yeah, basically Billy is gonna carry you down the stairs, and you're going to be taped up and tied up. And
Your first day?
that was my first day.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, I walk onto set, and Dacre's doing his slide down the stairs. So the first sound I hear out of his mouth is just, ah!
Oh my God.
And,
This is amazing.
And then, we get they're asking me, like, what type of rope do you want to be tied with? And I was like, I don't know, the soft one. And then, we go meet Dacre. I say hi. He's like, hey. And I was like, oh, fuck. He's a total...
Second time she's heard that word.
I'm sorry.
No,
sorry.
it's fine. It's okay. You're okay with it.
Oh, my God. She's okay. She looks unsure.
I'm with
You're
it.
okay.
She's excited for number 3. She doesn't know when it's going to happen.
God.
But she knows it's coming, though. It's going to happen. We get 3 of them here. All right, so he looks at you, he's like, hey, you're like, fuck,
I was
then
like,
what?
I was like, oh my God, what if you're mean? And then he gets really into the process of how I should be tied. He's like, Billy would do it this way. And it's like this overly complicated tie where I can't move. They're like, if we do this, we can't untie her. Like, you'll have to just stay tied up for the duration until we get this shot. Is that okay with you? And me, I was like, yeah, of course. Great. Not thinking about like peeing or anything else. I'm in a swimsuit.
You're on the set of Stranger Things 3. Sure,
Yeah, exactly.
Tie me
I was
up,
like, time
whatever.
whatever way you do it.
I got the Australian Robert De Niro here.
Exactly.
Whatever.
I'm
Let's
ready.
do this.
Let's
Yeah,
do this.
I'm
Let's
game.
go. Let's shoot. And then we're getting ready to do the scene. He's like holding me. We're just standing. He's standing at the top of the stairs with me, just in his arms. I'm taped up, and he's just kind of looking at me. I'm looking at him, and there's silence. And then we do the scene, and he puts me down. I'm crying. He goes, "It'll all be over soon." And it's really dramatic. And then scene ends, and he goes, "You okay?" And I was like, "Yep." And then he goes, "Okay." Walks right back up to the stairs. Nothing. I was like, this is going to be the worst shoot
It's going to be
ever.
long, yeah.
We finished this like 10-hour day, and then he comes into the makeup trailer, and it's like, the day's done, and he just goes, "Mate, so good, such a good job." And I was like, just like the nicest guy, he was like, "You're so great, mate."
Pulling the soft rope, like all that stuff.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
Nothing but compliments.
Nothing but compliments, just super nice. He was like, "You excited? Yeah, see you tomorrow." And I was like, what the hell is going on?
That is an incredible introduction to any human being, really. To like just the way that played out. Here's the big
so in character.
The first time you meet him, he's so in character, he's very in the zone, very short, to the point, all business. Second time you meet him, very loving, arms wide open. What are your expectations going into the third encounter? Which Dacre do you think you're going to get? What did you think was going to happen when you saw him the next time?
Really depended on the day. It depended on what we were doing. When he was
weather.
just Billy, he knows that character. He has it. So he was really chill. He was himself. He was making jokes and laughing and having a good time. When we were possessed, when we were possessed together, like for our dinner scene, we were both at that point. We were both like this to everyone, just staring at them.
Did you kind of fall into his his method, like his approach? Like, did you kind of start doing the similar thing, like of just finding that zone and hanging out there? Or do you do that anyway? Forget about him for a second. Like, how do you work?
I do that in my day to day. No, I had asked a few people, like, what is it? Like, what do you think I should do? I have to be possessed. Like, how would that help? And a lot of people recommended Tai Chi and yoga. They're like, the more relaxed your body is, the more like flow your breath has, the more you'll seem dead. And so I was like, okay, great. So I started doing that. And then when Dacre was talking about he was watching all these movies and studying, Jack Nicholson,
all that sort of stuff.
I watched a few myself, and I did like Silence of the Lambs, Gone Girl. It was huge for me. Rosamund Pike's performance was a big one.
Yeah, that was one of the things that was really interesting talking to him, and I wanted to get your perspective on, is that you guys had to play sort of these two sides, these two different versions of this person, the pre and post possession, as it were.
Yeah.
And just kind of like those talking about making decisions, like how do you decide what that looks like? It's not a typical possession, it's a different kind of possession, if you could even call it that, whatever it is you guys are going through. So like figuring that out together, I was wondering if you bonded together over that, of like finding that.
We had to find how much the mind flare was involved in like a line or something, or when they switched and we were completely gone versus when it was kind of there, but we were still supposed to be normal. And great guy, mind flare, great guy to work with.
Great guy, the mind flare.
Doesn't get a good enough rep. No one talks about him.
Nobody.
But yeah, it was an interesting process, and it was very helpful to have another cast member there who I can kind of play off of and work with to find that space.
Has it been? When did you guys wrapped a while ago? Like I want to say
October.
Yeah,
October
October.
of last year.
So you had to sit on all of this whole time, not tell anybody.
Well.
Wait,
Yeah,
what is that?
Yes. I told no one.
I
told no
Netflix is
one.
watching. Told no one. Yeah, no, I said nothing.
I didn't tell anyone, I swear.
This has to be like your first experience though with this level of like, don't tell anybody what we're doing.
Yeah.
I imagine every other project was like, tell everybody we're making this thing.
Yeah.
But like this project, it's like, don't let anyone know that this is happening. Was that like a difficult thing to navigate? It sounds like you did pretty all right. Like.
Well, yeah, especially when the billboards came out, because everyone was like, Francesca, are you on the billboard? And I wanted to make so many jokes and be like, yes, it's me. But I couldn't, because that would have spoiled literally everything. Or, the part is so cool, so they'd be like, so tell us about your part. And I'd be like, she's a lifeguard, and she, lifeguards, and she works at a pool. And people would look at you, and they'd be like, well, that sounds stupid. Like, that sounds like it's going to be the most boring part of the show.
Man, what a bummer.
Yeah, like,
I'd rather
good
not
job
be
booking that show. Yeah. And little did they know. Little did they know.
How much did you get told when you finally, like, when you were a part of the show? How much of that secrecy extends to the people in it? Like, did they tell you in the beginning, like, what you were going to be? Did you know you'd be possessed when you got the role?
No.
That you'd be flayed, as it were?
No, I didn't know anything. Even auditioning, they were just like, she's a lifeguard. And I
That's
was like,
it.
Dope. And then, I got onto set and I had a long talk with the Duffers about, they told me about her possession and I had just seen Us. So I was like, yes. And then I got to read and see everything up until the 7th episode. So I didn't get to read or hear anything about the 7th or 8th episode. So those were really emotional for me.
What was it?
Those were my biggest episodes too, in my opinion,
Is that, how do you do that? If you don't know what's coming ahead, is that typical to not know where your character necessarily is going to land? Like, did they at least tell you?
I knew where she went. Like,
Yeah.
I knew what happened. But everything after that happened, I didn't know what was going on. Like, I didn't get to read about the carnival or any of the other stuff or the letter. Everyone talks about the letter. I didn't know about the letter, and it killed me. It was so beautiful. But, it's exciting. It's not really scary. It's exciting.
We're going to go in just a minute over to audience because we got some questions in the room, and I definitely want to leave time for you guys. But before we do that, I have to ask about what I assume was one of the more challenging scenes. I think I've seen you talk a little bit about it, that bathtub sequence where, like, you appear to drown repeatedly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Was that hard? Walk me through that moment. Like when they tell you this is what you're going to do. What's your comfort level in a situation like that? You've already told them to use the soft rope, so they know where you fall there. But now they put you in this situation. How do you go into that? What are you thinking? What's in your head?
That was 2 separate days.
Yeah.
And, the first day, it was just the tub. They walked me to the void. They were like, you're going to get in this tub. Basically, all you have to really do is no big deal. You just got to, like,
void. So
yeah.
casual.
Yeah, they were
Welcome to
just
the
like,
void.
basically, get into the tub, put yourself underwater, hold there, and then we're going to yell, go! And then you'll pop up, say your line, no big deal. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I got that.
It's actually really hard to hold yourself underwater without, I kept floating up. And bubbles kept getting into my pants and everything, and I kept rising. So we had to put all these weights in my pants and on my feet.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so I got into the tub and they were like, it's just easier if you stay here all day. So I just hung out in my tub. I had when we were in cut, my hands were out so they wouldn't get super pruny. And yeah, and then we just popped some weights in my pants and on my feet, and I just drowned myself basically. And then Millie would come over and I'd see her reflection, and then I'd go, yeah, she was there. She had just broken her knee and she was like, I can do it. And I was like, no, stop, please don't. And but she did it and she was great. And we'd pop up, I'd do it, go back down, do it again. And then day 2, they brought me to the pool where we shoot, and it had a black bottom. Yeah. Which is my biggest fear, is a pool that you cannot see the bottom of.
I've never seen that in person. I don't think, like a black bottom pool.
Yeah, it's scary.
Is it, you can't really, does your mind process that, does it feel like there's literally no bottom?
It
Does
just
look
looks like
endless?
black water.
Yeah, just black.
Yeah. And
Oof.
they brought me there,
like
and they
that.
were like, all right, great, so you're going to get in here. We have this mechanism. It's going to go around your ankle, and then you're going to go under, call action. The mechanism will pull you down to the bottom of the pool. Jesus. And yeah, that's your day. And I was like, okay.
That's going to be the next 8 hours of your life.
It was all really exciting until they were like, Sean Levy, our director for that episode, came up to me and he was like, all right, So you're doing great, amazing. Just real quick, arms out so we can see your face, eyes open so we can see your eyes. And we need you to scream, but produce no bubbles. So just, I don't know how you're going to make that work, but just no bubbles. And so then it was just, I had to let water just like fly into my mouth. Yeah. I was super hydrated after that episode.
Would you do it again? Like, would you?
Yes.
Like,
Oh my God!
It
yes.
sounds
This was
terrifying.
my Tom Cruise moment. Are you
Your
kidding?
Tom Cruise moment?
It's
So
just-
badass.
Yeah, I could do my own stunts, and I can sit here and be like, I lived.
Yeah.
And I did it.
That's
and I would
cool.
do it again. 100%.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? It looks awesome.
It does. It was worth it. I'll tell you that much. That is crazy. But it's so funny because I think we're just so trained now in like 2019 that if you see something insane, you're like, oh, they probably did it with a computer and they probably dragged it this way. Or like, oh, I'm sure there were bubbles and they removed them digitally.
No, I am underwater, eyes open, mouth open, hands wide, drowning.
Sounds like a song.
I'm drowning.
Underwater, mouth open. I don't know. That's a track. It's a
I'll
banger
pitch it to
right there.
Kanye.
Yeah, do it. Oh, you keep running into his whole family. Extended
Exactly.
family there. Okay, so we're going to go over to audience. There is, I know I already said this, and I know I'm going back on my word here, but there's one more story that I was given like a heads up on that I really want you to tell. Because we're right by NYU. And from what I understand, in the world of crazy auditions, you had what sounds like a very crazy one when you went to NYU. And we may have some NYU students in the room. Sometimes NYU students come on over. There we go. So why not feel like the one big family that we are and share your personal experience? I'm asking a pointed question, if you would be so kind as to share this story.
All right, hold on. Let me just preface with, Okay, basically what happened here, I know exactly where the pointed question came from. And I'm late to the acting game myself. I don't know if you guys are Tish. Do you guys go to Tish or, oh, good. Yes? Congrats. Yay. It's you have to audition to get in, and I came into the acting game pretty late, and I decided, I want to be an actor. Someone said, you should be an actor. I was like, okay. And I was preparing for my NYU audition, and I got tonsillitis, so I couldn't really prepare, and then I got over said illness. And they were, you needed a dramatic and a comedic monologue. So I Googled best dramatic and comedic monologues, and there was one from Our Town, which is a play. There's a scene where the girl's talking to her dead mom. She's at her grave, and they're just chatting.
Very dramatic. The height of drama.
It is. And I've had zero acting experience up until this point, aside from like a high school play and a middle school play.
What was the play? High school play?
A chorus line.
Oh, okay. Very fun.
Another time. Go on. Other time. No, sorry. So, and the only acting lesson I've ever had is my mom saying, the show must go on always. Like, you can never break. So I memorized the scene. I go into the Disney concert hall, their basement. It's very old. And this guy's looking at me do my monologue. He looks bored. I'm trying to think of what to do to make it more dramatic. And I'm like, she's at her grave. I should drop to my knees dramatically and talk to my dead mom. So I go down, and something goes directly into my knee. A nail that had been slightly up on the ground went directly into my knee, and you just saw me go, ah! And then tears came down, and this guy just went, oh my God. Like he had just seen Meryl Streep act. He was like,
Gasps.
and then I'm like down and it's in and I'm doing the rest. I was like, the show must go on. So I keep going. I keep reading. I finish the monologue. We get up. I remove myself. And then I kind of limp over to do my interview. Sit legs crossed, just hold my knee. I'm doing the whole interview, wiping my eyes, but also blood is like pouring into my knee, like pouring into my hand. And I'm just like, yeah, I think New York would be a great place for me to go to college. And here's why I feel like it would help me grow as an adult. And I'm just like, blood is pouring. And I leave, and I'm walking with my dad back to the car. We're in the hallway, and you just hear this like squeak at the bottom of my shoe from my step. And he was like, what's going on? And I was like, my shoe is filled with blood.
You're never coming to New York again.
Exactly. Well, then they sent me this acceptance letter, and I was like, this is a fluke. I couldn't, you guys don't even know how bad my acting is. It's just,
Nobody trips like Francesca.
Exactly. This is like the third audition where I've tripped and got somewhere good. That just must be it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that story.
You're all welcome.
You're
all
I
welcome.
I demanded it. Well, I'll hold for applause. I hear people clapping. Go for it. Thank you. I couldn't let you go without you telling that story. Especially here, we're right across the street practically from NYU. We have to.
I
tell that
know.
story.
There
It's a
it
perfect story.
is.
All right, Kate's telling me I've got 3 questions in the room. I want to get to every single one of them. So who's got a microphone? First one, I see you with your hand and a microphone.
Hello.
Perfect. Go.
Hi, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and for being part of my favorite shows, so thank you.
That's
and I was wondering if you've ever considered writing or directing anything?
If I could write, I would. If I could. I would love to direct one day. I mean, one of my best friends who's here is a director and writer. Everyone look at her.
Shout out to director best friend. What's your director best friend?
Hannah Marks.
Hannah Marks.
At Hannah G Marks, Instagram.
There we go. Get that plug in.
Get that plug. And yeah, she's an incredible writer and director, and maybe one day she can teach me, but I'd love to direct one day. And if I can learn how to write in the way you need to, that would also be really cool. One day.
Great question. Thank you for that. I've got a couple more. Microphone in your hand. Go for it.
Hello.
So I was gonna ask, is Hopper dead or alive? But I don't think you can say that. So I just wanted to ask, what was like your opinion on Dustin and Susie's duet at the end?
I thought it was so cute. I actually thought she was fake, to be honest, because I didn't get the last 2 episodes, so I didn't know that she appears. So I was kind of like, wow, they're giving this poor kid Dustin. Like, they're just making him such a loner, making up a girlfriend. His friends are leaving it. I don't know. I thought it was amazing, and I now know the song by heart.
That's what's so great. I mean, like this show, I'm really old. I'm an 85 kid, so I don't catch a lot of the references, but I had an older brother, so like a lot of the pop culture references, I grew up around like him sort of kind of, so I know a lot of what's going on. Did you have to do like an 80s pop culture boot camp to get some of what, or does it's just all like background? You don't need to.
80s. I mean, I listen to the music. I watch the movies. I love Pretty in Pink. I love, Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire. Underrated, but love it. And yeah, so it wasn't that hard.
You were already.
There are obviously some things about the 80s that suck, and we don't need to talk about them. But there is some great stuff, and it wasn't hard.
For sure.
Yeah.
Little stuff like New Coke, I think everybody needed a brush up on.
I had no idea what that was, and someone was like,
You didn't live through it,
80s
didn't you?
quiz, what's the soda in Stranger Things? And I was like, I don't know. Fanta? And they're like, no, that's early 2000s. It was miserable.
All right, Kate's telling me I got one more. Thank you, Kate. Let's do it. Last question. Microphone. I'm looking. All the way in the back. Go for it. What's up?
I love doing Stranger Things, but kind of have 2 questions. Go for it. Like, what are some challenges you had to overcome in your career? And is there going to be a season 4 of Stranger Things?
Challenges in your career? In season 4. Yay or nay?
Challenges in my career. Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges so far in my acting career has been not comparing myself to anyone else's career or anyone else in general, or having that type of insecurity, because it's so easy to be on Instagram and see someone else that you met once and they just booked a big movie and they look exactly like you and you're like, what? Yeah. And then just be like, oh my God, I suck, I'm not pretty, or this or that. But that's stupid, because you are, obviously. I mean, I am, obviously. Okay. No, but finding a really stable self-confidence has been kind of a challenge. But yeah, that. And is there going to be a season 4? I think so. I don't know. Maybe.
Biggest show on television? Probably.
Yeah.
Safe bet.
Another season of this?
I think so.
I think we have a safe bet. Look at them.
Yeah, look at them. Look at all those kids. Look at all those crazy people.
Look at that face.
Yeah, that's coming back. We're gonna do another one of those.
Exactly.
What do you do? Talking about like dealing with that sort of that mental aspect of it and the self-confidence side of it and all that. Just in general, self-care. Even like after a day where you're drowning 10 times over in a pool, what do you do to make sure you're taking care of yourself physically, mentally? Because it is exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
It's grueling, not just the physical work, but the mental gymnastics that you have to go through to stay in the game and stay persistent and not give up and keep trying to get a gig, so that way you can land the ones that you really want. Like how do you do that?
I take a lot of social media breaks. I go off Instagram for a month at a time, and I try not to go on Twitter and read a newspaper instead, like a physical one. Those are not cool, but and I have a really, really stable, amazing support system in my friends, in my friends who are also in this industry. I mean, like just today, I know I keep pointing at them, but seriously, just today, I was going to an interview and they came to support me and listen to me talk about myself, which they've heard for the last 3 to 5 years already.
We do 7 of these every single day. That doesn't happen every time. I'll tell you that right now. That's really cool. You got good friends.
I know, and they're always there if I need a call or vent, or if I'm complaining about something first world, like I'm on this job, I'm working on Stranger Things, and I'm so tired, I don't know what to do, and I'm sure a part of them wants to be like hit me and be like, shut up, but they're there, and that's really important to have those people by your side to always stand by you and be there for you when you need it, especially during the lows. During the highs as well. They make my highs real highs, but during the lows specifically.
Let's round of applause for the friends for being so awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
good on you. You guys rock.
I hope they're all crying.
This was great. It's a bummer that we have to end this right now because I have a million more questions and you tell wonderful stories and I've had a lot of fun with you. And we happen to have, I don't know, one of the best audiences ever. But
you guys are so
all those facts notwithstanding.
You should style me. Are you kidding? Look at her outfit.
It's pretty incredible what's going on in this room right now. Can you believe we taught someone the word fuck today?
You're so welcome. I am, that's a beautiful shirt, but you're so welcome. Don't use it ever.
Use it wisely. All those facts notwithstanding, we're wrapping up. I got to say goodbye. I got to say thank you. And remind the 5 people that haven't watched the show yet that Stranger Things Season 3 is on Netflix right now. So we're Season 1 and 2. So if you haven't caught up, go ahead. Have a nice weekend and do all that. I want to thank people for tuning in out there and watching us live. I want to thank everyone in this room. You guys are a fantastic audience. Thank you so much. Great questions. Thank you to the friends. And especially while you're applauding, you know what? Keep it going because we have to, as a unit, thank our guest here, the great Francesca Reale, for spending time with us. Come on, guys.